going on, Bulls fans? Welcome into the Bulls Report. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman. And coming up on today's show, CBS Sports just dropped their latest 2025 NBA mock draft. So we'll share with you guys who they had picking at pick number 12, where the Bulls currently are projected to pick right now. And then also I want to go over 5 draft targets for the Chicago Bulls. Some could be top 5 if they get lucky in the lottery. Some could be around that 10 to 15 mark. So we'll go through 5 other names on the tail half of today's show. But before we dive into it, we're actually closing in on our race to 100 subscriber battle with the Miami Heat Report here at Chat Sports. We're probably going to play this team in the play-in tournament. So if you guys want to help us beat the Heat, not only just on the court, but off the court and within the walls here at Chat Sports, go down there, hit that subscribe button today. We just need 17 of you guys to go hit that subscribe button. We can beat the Heat Report in a race to 100 subs. All right, CBS Sports had the Bulls drafting March Madness superstar out of Florida, point guard Walter Clayton Jr. at pick number 12. This was a shocker to me. I did not expect CBS Sports to go in this direction, mainly just because of the plethora of guards that the Bulls currently have on the roster. But let's just check out what CBS Sports had to say, saying Clayton was not on the first-round radar several weeks ago, but he could be considered late in the lottery after leading Florida to a national championship, while averaging 22.3 points, 3.3 assists, and shooting 43.5% from 3 during the NCAA tournament. He's an older prospect who profiles as a 2-guard and has the movement shooting skills that remind me of Jared McCain and Fred VanVleet. Now, I do see a lot of Jared McCain in, Walter Clayton's game. This was coming in from Kyle Boone of CBS Sports. But when I saw this, this is no slight at Walter Clayton here. I think he's going to be a fantastic pro at the next level. But this makes zero sense. The Bulls, they got Josh Giddey. You got Kobe White. You got Ayo Dosunmu coming off the bench next season. And you just gave Lonzo Ball a 2-year, $20 million deal. So you already have 4 guards right there. How does Walter Clayton fit into the equation? I just don't really think he does. So this doesn't really make any sense to me. And listen, Clayton is a stud. I actually think his game is going to translate very, very well to the next level. He does kind of have some Jared McCain, even some Steph Curry in his game, where if he's unconscious and he's blacked out, all he is seeing is back iron for the entire event. But the Bulls, they need bigs, because I don't know if it's going to be this offseason they trade Vooch, but they will most likely be not extending him for the year after. And besides, Vooch, you got Jalen Smith, you got Zach Collins. You don't really have too many solid big options. Or even I would like the Bulls to target another wing, like next to Modest Buzelis. Go get an Ace Bailey. Go get, a VJ Edgecombe, one of these other players. But Walter Clayton, it just doesn't really make too much sense from the Bulls front on why they would draft him. And, he was a stud during March Madness. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he really was, honestly, my favorite player to watch throughout the entire tournament, averaging almost 23 points per game, 3 boards, 3 assists, very efficient from the field and beyond the arc as well, shooting 43.5% from 3 during the March Madness run. So, listen, the only way I consider the Bulls drafting Walter Clayton Jr. is if the Bulls have ideas of trading Kobe White this offseason. Now, we heard reports when the trade deadline was coming around that the Orlando Magic were heavily interested in Kobe White, and with him on a very team-friendly contract, maybe the Bulls would rather say, hey, we're going to go extend Josh Giddey, pay him $35 million. Do we want to pay Kobe White $30 million? Maybe that's where the Bulls would decide to trade Kobe for a first-round pick, draft Walter Clayton, and then have Clayton be the guard next to Josh Giddey. But I still don't think that's likely. I would rather have Kobe White than Walter Clayton, even if Kobe White's going to cost you $25, $30 million on his next deal. I think he's that good. He's a great 3-level scorer. So I would probably pass on drafting Walter Clayton, but what say you on this one? Would you draft Walter Clayton Jr.? Give me a D for draft or give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I'm passing on him. Hell of a player, but it just doesn't make too much sense on the Chicago Bulls front. Now we'll dive into 5 draft targets for your Chicago Bulls here in a second. But first off, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, if you guys download the PrizePicks app today and plug in promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is PrizePicks? Well, it's the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, if you guys are going to be watching a Cubs or a White Sox game this upcoming week or two, create a PrizePicks lineup for it. Trust me, you guys won't regret it. It just makes the game that much more interesting. And if you guys want to put your baseball knowledge to the test, or even with the Bulls, a couple of games left in the regular season, play-in tournament next week. If you guys want to, try to win some money off taking them more on a couple of Bulls players' stat projections, please do so at PrizePicks. So download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. A massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, let's talk about 5 draft targets for the Chicago Bulls. Now, we're going to start off this list talking about 2 bigs here. And my favorite big in this year's draft class is actually Derik Queen out of Maryland. This guy, he kind of reminds me of Alperen Sengun a little bit. He's got a little Jokic in him, a little DeMarcus Cousins, those bigs that are 7 foot, thick builds, but they also have an incredible skill level. And that's what Derik Queen is. He has immense skill level. I mean, that one game winner he had during March Madness over Colorado State, driving to his left, going off his back foot, and just kissing it off the glass and ended up falling. Like, that was an unbelievable shot considering his size and considering the dude was a freshman. And he's already that developed in terms of his skill set. And I think that skill set, yes, he was great on the collegiate level, but I think it will honestly be better at the NBA level. Now, I also believe Derik Queen will probably go top 8 this year. CBS actually had him going 11. I think that's way too low. So Bulls will probably have to get lucky in the draft lottery to land him, but I think he would be my number 1 draft target for Chicago. But another big that I would absolutely love, and honestly on the same tier as Derik Queen, is Khaman Maluach. He is a typical rim-protecting, lob threat center, and I think that archetype of big would be ideal for the Chicago Bulls, as, we've kind of gone through this Nikola Vucevic era where you had the big who is incredibly skilled offensively, but I think we have also seen with this Bulls defense being as bad as it's been this past season, a big reason for that is, yes, it's not like you have elite guard and perimeter defenders, but I think the biggest reason for that is you don't have a rim protector. You don't have a guy you can just sit down there in the middle of the lane and just protect the rim and kind of make up for a lot of mistakes that these guards or wings were making. So Maluach, I think he would be a great addition. And, maybe he falls to pick number 12. I think he would more likely be a top 7 or 8 pick, just like Derik Queen. We'll have to wait and see how the draft plays out. But another guy, UConn's Liam McNeeley from Texas. This guy, extremely versatile player, can score from all 3 levels. He has a ton of toughness in his game, which I really love to see. I think you just get that from playing under Dan Hurley, if I'm being honest. But, he had a tough finish to his college career. In that Florida game down the stretch, he got beat to a couple of big-time rebounds. Now, Dan Hurley was saying he was getting fouled. He probably was, but still, he kind of got outmanned a little bit for a couple of boards, but he's an incredibly skillful player. And I would like the idea of having McNeeley paired up with Modest Buzelis and have that be your 3 and 4, very skilled players. And you got Kobe White, Josh Giddey, and then hopefully you can go get a big that can protect the rim. I like that foundation of a lineup for the Bulls, but also another guy, dead-eye shooter, Kon Knueppel, guard out of Duke. Now, personally for me, I have him as my 3rd rated prospect on my big board. I obviously got Cooper Flag 1, going Dylan Harper, Ryan Harper's kid at number 2, but then I go Kon Knueppel at number 3. Biggest reason, he's the most skilled player in this year's draft class. He's an elite shooter. He's got elite handle. He can really make every right play when he's out there on the basketball court. And I think when you have a guy like that who, just keep it simple, he can pass, he can shoot, he can dribble. That's kind of like the Boston Celtics narrative on why they have been so successful. They just get a bunch of guys who can guard, a bunch of guys who can, make plays for others and knock down open shots in the flow of the offense. And I think Knueppel, just like how I was saying for Derik Queen, yes, great in the college game, but I think his game will be elevated at the NBA level with just more spacing and just him developing throughout his career. I think he could legitimately be like a juiced up Austin Reeves type of player. 6'6", 6'7", long wingspan, plays the game the right way, plays very hard, knockdown shooter. Really does remind me of, in terms of the comparison to Reeves, the way he navigates pick and rolls, gets to that snake dribble at a high level. So I would, be thrilled that the Bulls got him. I just think he's probably going to be a top 5 pick. But another guy where the Bulls would have to get lucky this year in the draft lottery, it would be Ace Bailey. Now, he is probably the most polarizing prospect, as a lot of people think he, could potentially have some of the highest potential in this year's draft class, but also he probably has one of the lowest floors. Now, I would have liked to see Ace Bailey be a better, defender this past season at Rutgers. I don't know if that was just the culture they had or he was just kind of tapped out, but I didn't love to see that. But this dude's no doubt one of the best athletes, high flyer. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Tracy McGrady, if he can kind of reach that ceiling of his game. But that would kind of be the home run pick for the Bulls, or if they get like the 4th overall selection and Ace Bailey's there. I do love the idea of Bailey, Modest Buzelis paired up at the wing spot, long, athletic guys who, Bailey turns himself into an elite NBA defender. You would have a very, very dynamic defensive and offensive wing duo. But I'll ask you guys this. Let me know. Who is your dream Bulls draft target? For me, it's probably Derik Queen or Maluach. You can also make an argument for Kon Knueppel and Ace Bailey as well. But you guys let me know down below who is your dream Bulls draft target. And also a friendly reminder, hit that subscribe button on your way out. We're trying to reach 12,000 subs here on the channel. So hit that sub button today. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.